I, 23 female, met my boyfriend's 25 male work wife for the first time, and I'm devastated. So, throwaway account because this is pretty personal drama, and I don't want all of my friends knowing about this just yet. I've been with my boyfriend for 5 years now, and he's been at his current job for a few years. We'll call him Jake. I've never met any of his coworkers until last night, but there's one in particular who we will call Amy. He sometimes does big favors for her, fixing her car, going to her house to fix stuff around her house, etc. And I was never really concerned because he told me all of his coworkers are a lot older than him. However, one night while he was asleep, his guy friend kept blowing up his phone, so I answered to let him know Jake was sleeping, and so was I, so please stop calling. Anyways, before I put the phone down, I noticed 5 unread text notifications from Amy. I guess some of the spam notifications were from her. One of them said, quote, "Great, Jake. Now everyone thinks that we are effing," with a laughing crying emoji, unquote. This really concerned me, so the next day after Jake got home from work, I asked about it, and he said that both him and Amy were late for work that morning, so everyone probably assumed that, and it was just a joke. I thought it was a weirdly unprofessional joke and expressed my discomfort. He invited me to the bar with him and his coworkers that night so that I could meet her and see there was nothing to worry about. It did not soothe my nerves at all. It turns out Amy is not a lot older than him. She's only 3 years older and super pretty. The entire night she was all over him, touching him, leaning on him, putting her arms around him, and even kissed him on the cheek, and he acted like it was normal. They were constantly teasing each other in that, quote, "middle schooler who doesn't know how to properly flirt yet," unquote, kind of way. She told me all about how she loves him like a brother, and also told me that she's had sex with half of their other coworkers and that she got the next morning off work because she sent a coworker nudes to get him to cover for her. Later on, she started crying and sobbing at the bar, actual tears, because she's so lonely and wants someone to love her. And my boyfriend ended up having to comfort her. I'm just unsure of what to do or say. My boyfriend kept acting like this was normal, that he wasn't doing anything wrong by entertaining this behavior. I can't ask him to cut her off. They're on the same unit and they have to work together. I literally do not know what to do about this, but I'm just disgusted knowing that this has been going on all of these years and he's worked with her. How can I set boundaries when they're forced to be around each other all the time at work? Ew, he's literally like the worst person ever. And he should have already set those boundaries. I hate this so much that I always have to say, like, this is common sense knowledge that you don't do that in a relationship. So you having to sit him down like a little baby preschooler, talking to him like apples start with A and bananas start with a B. Like, that should not have to be a thing in your relationship. So I don't know, have a talk with him and just express your concerns, and also that you're very disappointed and you do not like the way that they were acting together, and that I would honestly, if it were me, I'd be like, I'm seriously reconsidering our relationship because that disgusted me. And that's truly so awful to know that you're going over to her house to help her with house things or car things, and all this time you're probably, what? I don't know. You guys are so comfortable doing that in front of my eyes. So what are you comfortable doing behind my back? Someone said, your boyfriend cares for his work wife, I just hate that term, more than you. The way they acted, touched in front of you, and your boyfriend sees nothing wrong, I think you have underreacted. Ask the question, is he worth it? Exactly. Opie said, I was just kind of in shock because they did it so blatantly and everyone else was acting like it was normal. She was also super touchy with me and even kissed me on the cheek and hugged me a lot, and despite being our first time meeting. So I struggled with wondering if this is just how she is as a person. I know some people are just very touchy and physically affectionate, and I guess that just made me worried I was being paranoid. I don't want to seem like the crazy girlfriend. Oh, also, mind you, go off, send nudes all you want, but I don't think that you should be sending nudes to a coworker so that they'll cover for you. Or honestly, I don't think that you should be sending nudes to a coworker, period. Probably. I don't know. Is that crazy for me to say? Like, I probably wouldn't get involved in that way. But obviously you don't care because you screwed all of them. So, and like, I'm all for a woman doing what she wants. I am not going to shame a woman, but like, why are you sleeping with all your coworkers? There's a million, jillion, grillion people in the world that you can sleep with. Why do they have to be your coworkers? And that's very concerning to know that my boyfriend is one of your coworkers and that you probably are trying to sleep with him too, because it's like you're trying to collect Pokemon at this point. This person said, I'm sure this will be an unpopular opinion, but you wouldn't be the crazy girlfriend to confront him about it. You've been in the picture longer and you should come first. He may not even realize how bad it looks or how uneasy it makes you. Before jumping to breaking up, you need to have a sit down with him and explain the inappropriate actions and how it made you feel. You need to set the boundary with him that being friends with Amy at work is okay to an extent, but you're not okay with how comfortable she was with him because being touchy and even kissing on the cheek is crazy. OP said, thank you for the advice. I will definitely do that. And yes, your opinion may be unpopular, but I found it a lot more helpful than the people saying just to break up without communication at all. I find it difficult to end a long-term relationship without even discussing the problem first. I will try this, and if he isn't understanding and active in fixing it, then leaving will be the only option I have left. Thank you. 100%. I agree with you. You should definitely talk to him about it because I'm assuming if she was that way with you, she's probably that way with everyone, and he probably just doesn't see that it's a problem because she's that way, and that's just like her personality. But she should also not be doing that. But I don't know, I don't know. Also, why is it always an Amy? I know that's a fake name, but like, why is it always Amy? This person said, bro, this is actually effing unreal. And OP said, yeah, I was literally in shock at the bar about how blatant it all was, and no one else reacted to it. They all acted like it was normal, so I was just sitting there in disbelief. Dude, the way that I would literally be fuming, you'd be able to see the smoke coming out of my ears. Like, I would probably turn into the devil himself. We're gonna read the update. It's about a month later. Before I give the update, I want to give some clarifications about frequently asked questions on the original post. One, my boyfriend told me that all his coworkers were a lot older than him, but that was when we were discussing other coworkers months prior, so I understand why he didn't happen to mention the one exception, Amy, since she wasn't on topic. He was just making a generalization. So, update time. I did end up talking to Jake. I struggled finding a good time to bring it up because we ended up being invited on a spontaneous trip with our friends shortly after I made my post. But I ended up talking to him when we had a moment alone at the hotel. I explained how those behaviors made me feel, and he told me he wanted to discuss this but wasn't sure how to bring it up either since we didn't talk about it when it happened. I was so emotionally defeated the night that we got home from the bar that I just went to sleep without a word. Anyways, Jake told me that he was also completely caught off guard by how Amy was acting at the bar. He said that while she did make odd comments every now and then, she had never physically done anything until that night, and he let their other female coworkers know he was uncomfortable with how Amy acted at the bar, and she agreed, and said that she would not schedule him with Amy anymore since she manages the schedule. I mentioned in my last post that Amy was constantly boasting about sleeping with a bunch of men and sending them pictures or whatever. I interpreted this as she's trying to tell him that she's down to do anything with anyone, including him. She's telling him that she's interested. She's telling him that she likes having sex. Jake, however, interpreted the flirty comments as her personality because she was that way with everyone, and interpreted the sleeps with a bunch of men boasting as, I'm not interested in you personally though, which is why he didn't find it odd. You know how when you start talking to someone of the opposite sex, they'll casually slip in a mention of their girlfriend/boyfriend as a way to let you know that they're already taken and are only interacting with you platonically? He thought it was like that, and that was why she kept mentioning whoever she was seeing at the time. During our conversation, Jake reassured me that he loves me and only wants me. He apologized for not resolving this sooner and that he just felt super awkward at the bar when he realized what she was doing and he didn't know how to react. He mentioned that he would never do anything with Amy or anyone like Amy and that he found her promiscuity and emotional instability to be unattractive. He believed that the reason she suddenly started being so handsy with him that night at the bar was because I was there, and that must have made her lash out, but he promised it had never happened before that. After this conversation and him showing me texts from his coworkers stating that he won't be scheduled with Amy anymore, I felt a lot better. Until Jake told me he wanted to talk one day. He said that even though he wasn't scheduled on the same shifts as Amy anymore, she started switching shifts with people to work with him. Because of that, he started applying to jobs and later on let me know that he got accepted to be a field technician at Redacted for Privacy. He put his 2 weeks in at his current job and now he only has 1 week left until he starts. It's a field that he's more interested in, has better pay, and obviously Amy won't be there. Overall, I'm currently happy and feel a lot better that he cut her out, and soon that entire work environment. We've been talking about a lot of things since then. Better communication, how we can enforce boundaries even when it's awkward. I know this update is going to make a lot of people displeased. Most responses wanted me to end our relationship, but I'm happy where things are going currently. Thank you again to everyone who responded, except the few who kept accusing me of being AI. LOL. Also, sorry for the bad formatting. I typed this on my phone. I mean, yeah, all that's good. I'm really confused about the. Never mind. I'm not. I thought that he told her like really late that he was going to get a new job or whatever and only had like a week left, but I think I just misinterpreted that. Yeah, honestly, communication is just such a big thing in relationships, and you really realize that. And I find it so hard sometimes. I'm really not a big communicator, to be honest with you. Like when I'm mad, I usually just like to avoid it until I'm not mad anymore, which I know is really unhealthy. But even with my friends, like I just find it so awkward to have a conversation like that. But the thing about that is, if my boyfriend didn't bring that up after it happened, like that night, knowing that I was silent the rest of the night and then went to bed without saying a word, that's a little crazy to me. I would be even more mad at my boyfriend for not bringing it up. Like, I have to bring this conversation up. You should have just said something. Like, he should have just said something to her that night and been like, hey, I don't know why that was happening. Like, how awkward could that really be? I guess if they're both like avoidant about things and they both just never want to talk about things, then that's how it would be. But I feel like I'm like kind of avoidant with stuff like that. But if that happened and some guy was like all over me, touchy feely, well, first of all, I would be like, can you chill? I'd be like, no, I actually didn't consent to this. So can you please get off of me? And I would just be like, no, no, no. And I'd be pissed at that person for doing that. And then, second of all, I would have talked to my boyfriend that night. I would have been like, whoa, that was crazy. I don't know why he was acting like that. He's never acted like that before, but now I don't ever even want to speak to him again. And that was crazy. And I just feel like I don't even think that's really like confronting or even like, I don't know. I feel like I would just be talking shit about him. So that would just be normal for me to say. Okay, this person is a downvoted comment. It says, I'm struggling to see this as positively as the other comments. The absence of Amy isn't the absence of opportunity. He didn't shut her down or defend you that night at the bar and didn't talk to you about this afterwards, and you believe his claim that she only acted that way that night, and you believe that. No one usually behaves like that unless there has been a prior buildup in consent. I think the alcohol dropped her inhibitions of what's been going on at work in subtly. Sounds like your partner was doing damage control because you were there. OP said, I understand your concern. You know, before we were dating, when we kissed for the first time, he said that he was relieved because he wasn't sure if I liked him romantically too, or if I just viewed him as a close friend. And I was like, dude, I've been sleeping in your bed the last 3 nights. We play wrestle. I baked you. Play wrestle? It's crazy. I baked you homemade cornbread because you said it was one of your favorite foods. I hug and touch you all the time. How much more obvious could I have been without coming right out and saying it? LOL. I do genuinely believe that he interpreted things exactly how he said he did, and that he didn't realize she was flirting until the night at the bar. He's clueless sometimes, and I can forgive clueless. We all have character flaws, and clueless is far from the worst character flaw to have. I do thank you for your concern, though. I know you're just giving honest advice, so I don't end up let down. I agree with both of these people, honestly. I agree with this downvoted comment, because, like, that's honestly true, but I also agree with OP, whereas, like, guys can be so clueless and it's like, wait, how did you not see that? But at the same time, they're not stupid. Like, sometimes they can be clueless, but they're not stupid. And I feel like he saw that you were upset and didn't say anything, which is annoying. But obviously it's all resolved, and that's great and that's fine. And I'm not trying to make him in trouble anymore. The top comment says, best outcome was him leaving the job, because what the actual F is that workplace? Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because imagine like people just going and being like, hey, so Amy's sleeping with all of the men at the company and sending everyone nudes. That's actually insane. Love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.